Forward. Okay, so Kal Kadosh, we're going to start today. Today's daf is going to be daf Tet Zayin 16a1. And we're just going to start on the last line of Tet Vav Amud Bet. So the last line of Tet Vav Amud Bet says as follows. Okay, so we're starting right now today's daf. Ela meata. We're going to ask the following question. Okay, again, we're talking about a glass utensil that they mean that a glass utensil is like kli cheres, like an earthenware utensil to do with becoming tameh. So says the Gemara, lo litamu migaban, which means that the kli zechuchit, which is basically any type of a glass utensil, should not accept tum'ah, right? B'maraga migabam, just like kli cheres is not mekapel tum'ah migabam ela maviram, which means like this. Usually, utensils can become tameh even from the outside of utensil. So here I have a utensil. I touched it on the outside. It could become tameh. If I was tameh and I come and I touch it, it could become tameh. Now there's a special deen by kli cheres. By kli cheres does not become tameh on the outside of the utensil, but rather from the avid of the utensil, which means, right, the inside of the utensil. It has to be in the airspace in the inside of the utensil and not from the outside. So the question that we're asking is, if you're right now comparing glass to earthenware, because that was yesterday's daf, that the glass is compared to earthenware, because we just said that it was at the beginning was made from a special type of a sand, so it's compared to earthenware. So just like earthenware is only going to become tameh on the inside, so too glass should only become tameh on the inside, right? Now, alama tanan, so why do we learn in the Mishnah in Kelim? This is Perek Bet, Mishnah Aleph. Okay, so Perek Bet, Mishnah Aleph says the Mishnah, Kli cheres ukle netet, any types of earthenware utensil or a utensil which is made out of netted. Here it says it's like adama levana, it's like white earth. Okay, so that's what it was. Okay, here it says pachameta natron, right? There's a whole bunch of different names of exactly. I don't know how they say. How do you say it in English? The netted over there. They probably also translated it as netted, no? Yeah, it says net.
It says white earth.
What did you say?
It says white earth.
White earth. Okay, so that's what it says here for me as well. White earth. Okay, so any type of kli cheres ukle neted, tumatan shaveh. It's the exact same type of a tuma. What does that mean? Mitamein umetamein me'avidehen, which means that the tum'ah has to do with the avid, with the airspace, which was within the utensils. Okay, which means that even though it's not touching the actual utensil, the fact that it's going to be like on the inside of the utensil, that's what's going to make it tameh. So says the Gemara, umi tamein me'achorehen, which means if you had, it says over here, if it was like engraved in these utensils from underneath it, from the outside, bet kibul, which is like a receptacle, and then it went inside the tum'ah, into the avir bet kibul, which is inside of this receptacle, in the airspace of the receptacle, you have this tum'ah. So therefore, it's also going to become tameh. But it does not become tameh from touching the outside walls. So again, one more time, this is a utensil of earthenware. If I touch it on the outside, there's nothing. If it goes on the inside, which is in the airspace of the inside of the utensil, that's how it becomes tameh. So what we're trying to do from is, one second, over there, we only compared two halachot together. The two halachot that we compared together was kli cheres and kli netet. So that means those are the only two halachot which are the same. Mashma, you could deduce from there that anything to do with glass is not the same as kli cheres. So therefore, our question is, ela meata, if you're going to compare glass to kli cheres, it should have the same halachot to do with tum'ah as well. I mean, it's just like you compared it to tum'ah yesterday, and you said that if it breaks, and then it doesn't help mikveh, and so on and so forth. So you have the same thing here. Well, how does it become tameh? Why did we only speak about kli cheres and kli neted, and we didn't speak about glass? So the Gemara answers, Amri, we are going to answer, Kevan dechi nishtabru yesh lehem takana, shavinu kekli matachot, which means at the end of the day, if it breaks, you could fix it. Why? Because you could come and you could actually make it new. So therefore he says, so glass is more compared to kli matachot and not kli cheres. Because cheres that breaks, earthenware that breaks, you can't fix it. So therefore the rabbis made the glass into metal utensils for certain halachot, right? So it says it is going to accept tum'ah from the outside like a metal utensil, because at the end of the day it is compared to metal in the sense that you could fix it very easily, unlike any type of earthenware, which is very, very difficult to fix it. Okay, now here obviously, like Tosafot is going to say, the kavanah of the Gemara is not to take it back completely 100% that it's not cheres and that it's metal, as we just said, but it's like we're giving it like some halachot we're giving it like kli cheres, and some halachot we're giving it to kli matachot, to metal utensils, and the reason why is because it's compared to both, meaning it's compared to cheres because of the way that it's made at the beginning. So I give it some stringencies of kli cheres, but it is compared to metal in other senses that it's very easy to fix, and therefore I give it some of the stringencies of metal as well. Here the stringency of metal is that even on the outside it's going to become tameh. So therefore I'm going to say that the kli zechuchit, which is glass, is going to be tameh also on the outside as well. Okay, next. Ela me'ata, we're going to now ask the following question. If right now we just made the glass like metal utensils to become tameh also on the outside, so yachzirulu tumatan yeshana kli matachot. So therefore it should be like a kli matechet, which is like the tuma yeshana, right? Which means that any type of a kli matechet, any type of a metal utensil that was tameh, that breaks, it becomes tahor by breaking it. Okay, but now when you come and you fix it, it gets back to tumah again. Okay, and the same halacha should apply to kli zechuit. So one more time, when I have, let's say, pretend this is metal. Okay, there's a metal utensil, it's tameh. What do? I break it. I break it into two pieces. Now it becomes tahor, because any utensil that breaks becomes tahor. If I form it together again, it goes back to the original tumah status. Meaning, I don't say that it's like panim chadashot ba'ulaka, that it's a new entity. I say it goes back to the original status quo of being tameh. So therefore, according to this, if you're going to tell me that glass becomes like earthen, like a metal, in the fact that it's going to be tameh on the outside, which is a stringency just like metal, because it's easily fixed. So too, you should have the same halacha, which applies concerning that it should go back to the status quo of tumah yeshana, which means, right, as we're going to learn now in a Mishnah. The Tanan, as we learned in a Mishnah in Kelim, Perek Yud Aleph, Mishnah Aleph. Kle matechot, when you have a metal utensil, pshutehen, which does not have any type of receptacle. That's why it's called pashut. It's like simple, straight. There's no receptacle. You cannot accept anything there. Kablehen, or it does have a receptacle. It's able to have a kli kibul. Kli kibul means you could accept something inside of it. So it says temein. It's going to be mekabel tuma. Okay, so if it's going to be mekabel tuma, right? That's what it says here. It's going to be mekabel tuma. Now it says nishbiru. If it breaks, taharu becomes tahor from its tuma because it's not a kli anymore. Right? It's not a utensil anymore. You broke it. Chazarga samehen kelim chazru letumatan yeshana. All of a sudden now when I come and I make it again into a utensil, meaning I took these broken pieces and I formed the utensil out of it, it goes back to the original status quo of tum'ah. However, though, that's to do with metal. What about glass? It says the Mishnah in Kelim, this is again Perek Bet. The other one, the previous one was Perek Yud Aleph Aleph, and now this is Perek Bet Aleph. It says Kle'etz, any type of wooden utensil, ukle or a utensil made out of skins, ukle etzem, or made out of bones, or ukle zechurit, or any type of glass utensils. Peshutehen teronim. If there's no receptacle, so then it's going to be tahor, which means it's not going to accept tum'ah. And the reason why is because these utensils, they made a hekesh to the word sak. Sak, like a sackcloth, is like a bag, has a bet kibul. So anything that does not have a bet kibul, anything that does not have a receptacle, is not going to be mekabel tuma. So again, these utensils, if it's flat, it doesn't matter if it's made out of, we said glass, a bone, or we're talking about wood, we're talking about or, which is any types of skins, it's not going to be tameh. It won't receive tuma. Kablehen. If it does have a receptacle that it can receive something inside of it, it's going to be tameh. Nishberu, if it broke, taharu, just like any other utensil. Chazar v'asa mehem kelim, right? If you made it again to a utensil, mekablim tuma mikanu laba. You're going to receive tuma mikanu laba from now onwards. Mikanu laba in lemafreya lo. From now onwards, yes. Retroactively, no. So one more time, what are we trying to say now? We're trying to say we just asked before that we compared the glass to earthenware. I'm just doing a very quick chazara. So we always have to have it right in place. We started today's daf by saying we made a comparison right already on yesterday's daf from glass to earthenware. Why? Because at the beginning it came from the same sand. Okay. Then we said right, how could that be? It can't be. We said yes, it is. And we brought the case, for example, if it has a hole, right, and then it breaks, right, so it has a hole, and then I sealed it up. So on yesterday's daf, we learned that when I come and I seal it up, only according to Shitat Rabbanim, once I seal it with a lead, which is a metal, so it becomes a metal object. The rabbi said, no, it doesn't. Then we came and we said, 1 second. If we're going to compare it to earthenware, so then it shouldn't become tameh on the outside. It should be like earthenware, which only is tameh on the inside. So the Gemara answers, no, glass is special. That the special stringency by glass is that since you could fix it so easily, it's got the stringency also of metal. And therefore metal does become tameh on the outside. So we ask, if you're going to count it like metal, let's look at this case. You should have the stringency of metal. Metal, if I have a utensil over here, metal utensil, I break it into two, it becomes pure. I form it back together, it goes back to the original status quo, tum'ah. So the Gemara is asking, so then why is it written that only by metal does it do that and not by glass? Glass is compared to wood and to bone and to to skins. That we said that if it's going to compare to those cases, we said that what happens is that when you form again together the utensil, it only receives tumah mikanu laba from now onwards. It doesn't go back to the original status quo. So if you said glass is going to be like metal, so then it should go back to the original status quo. Why did you say it's different? So answers the Gemara, no. The reason why this case we were lenient is because tumat kli zechuchit midrabanan. Any type of tumah of kli zechuchit of glass is only midrabanan. The tumah yeshana, to do a tumah yeshana, which means the original tumah to come back to the utensil, is also only midrabanan. As is brought down, we're going to learn it actually on Amud Bet. Today is in Amud Bet. So therefore he says, betuma doraita, to do with utensils, which ikaram are doraita, which means that they come from the Torah, for example, metal. So achitu berabanan tuma. So therefore the rabbis went and they made a special decree of tuma yishana, an old tuma coming back on top of it. So he says, but tuma derabanan, but to do with tuma derabanan, which is glass, lo achitu derabanan tuma. The rabbis do not give it tuma. By the way, you should know the same halachot apply to tevilat kelim. Tevilat kelim, a glass utensil is not chayav in tevilah midoraita. It's only midrabanan. But even on that drabanan, they made a good decree of doing beracha. So you do make a beracha when you do tevilat kelim on glass, but the glass is only midrabanan. It's not doraita. Okay, very very important to know. The reason why it's important to know is because now you understand why. For example, some types of caterers or hotels or restaurants, they don't do tevilat kelim to china, right, or to glass. And the question is why? And the answer is because of this. Because tevilat kelim for an esek, for a business, is a machloket. Do you need to do it or not? Now, what happens is that anytime, since it's a machloket, you need to do it or not, because it's done for business, it's not done for personal use. So therefore, the question now is, do you have to do tevilat kelim for this or not? So for example, earthenware is exempt according to all opinions. That's why if I'm going to take a china cup, here I've got a china cup, yeah, earthenware. If I'm going to take this cup to tevilat kelim, I don't make a bracha on it. Because earthenware doesn't even need to be done tevilat kelim. The problem is the majority of the china nowadays, you have glass around it, right? It's like a small glaze of glass. So now some people want to say that the glass is batel, and other people want to say, 1 second, but even if you're not going to say that the glass is batel, glass is also derabanan. So since the entire thing is derabanan, so therefore when it comes to do with restaurants or places like that, I know the OU are lenient and other places are as well are lenient. So therefore that's why you'll find that sometimes they just won't do tevilat kelim. Okay, why? Because of the same concept. Okay, let's continue. So says the Gemara, we're going to go back and we're going to ask again on the kli zechuchit from kli matachot. That means again we're asking from the glass to the metal. Pshutetehen nialitama. He says 1 second. At the end of the day, pshute kli etz, right? Sorry, pshute kli zechuchit. We're talking about glass. Remember, we just mentioned that if the glass, not like the metal, even if it's pashut, which means it's flat, it does not have any receptacle. It's a flat object, okay? We just said pshute, right? The pshute kli zechuchit, it's not mekabel tuma. Why? Because we said whether it's glass, bone, we said glass, bone, or we said, there were four cases, the skins, and one more, I just lost it, etz, wood. So he said those four cases, what happens is in those four cases, if they're pshute, so whether it's pshute kli etz, whether it's pshute means pashut, simple. There's no walls, there's nothing, there's no receptacle. It's just a flat piece of wood, a flat skin, a flat glass, a flat, all these things which are flat. It's not going to be mekabel tuma whatsoever. Why? Because we said that it was hukash. There was a juxtaposition, a proximity to do with a sack. And just like a sackcloth has to have a bet kibul, it has to receive something. So therefore, since it's compared to that, it's not going to receive tuma. So says the Gemara, pshutehen mialitame. It should be metame. Pshuten, why? To have pshute kli metechot. The right meaning. At the end of the day, pshute matachot, we learned that was the previous one. The previous one in the Mishan Kelim Yudalef Aleph, we learned kle matachot, metal utensils, pshutehen mekablim tamein. Right? Whether it's the pshute metals or mekablehen, which means that it has a bet kibul, any type of a metal utensil will be tameh, which means it could become a receptacle for tuma. So why is it that the glass, if you compare it to metal, it should at least become also tameh, even though it's going to be flat without any receptacle? And so the Gemara, Avdi behur Rabbanan hekeda kiechadelo lisrof alehem tuma v'kodshi. Says no. The rabbis wanted to make a differentiation between glass and metal. Why did they want to make a differentiation between glass and metal? In order that it should be nikar, that it's only midrabanan. Meaning, if I would have went and I would have said that glass is like metal, it becomes tameh also on the outside. And then I would have said that glass is like metal, that even flat piece of glass, right? I've got a flat piece of glass over here, flat, that it's going to be mekabel tuma. I've got a problem. I'm going to think it's 100% like metal. If it's 100% like metal, I would come and any type of kochim or truma that touches it, I would actually make it tameh. I would actually burn it, right? As if it's tuma mina Torah. So therefore, since it's only midrabanan, I cannot come and burn kochim, right, and truma because it's only midrabanan. So therefore, purposely, the rabbis came and wanted to make a special recognizable action, and not kli zechuchit is only midrabanan. And since it's only midrabanan, don't compare to both cases together. Okay, Tetzayin Mubet. Says the Gemara, Ravashi Amar. Everyone's with me? It's clear? Laurent, you're with me? Very good. Okay. Yeah, says the Gemara. Ravashi Amar, Ravashi comes and he says, okay, Le'olam Likli Cheres Tamu, which means Ravashi, he's going to answer a different answer on the previous questions that we just had. Remember, we started comparing glass only to earthenware. Then we had a question that, one second, why is it that glass should become tameh on the outside, right? If you're comparing it to earthenware, it shouldn't become tameh on the outside. And then we answered, no, we're comparing it also to metal. And then we continued going with this concept of metal, but then we just answered, no, that there's a special deen that we didn't want to make 100% like metal, because then it would be doraita, you would burn kochim and tarot. So therefore we came and we said it's like in the middle. It's earthenware on certain halachot, it's metal on certain halachot, and certain halachot you have to leave it a little bit arve in order to make sure that you're not going to compare it 100% to metal. Ravashi comes and he says, no, I'm sorry. Le'olam lekli cheres damu. Really be'emet, right? The kli zechuchi, glass utensils, are like earthenware, right? Which means that since it's coming from sand, so it's like 100% earthenware, right? And they didn't make it like a metal utensil whatsoever. It's nothing compared to metal, right? So now says the Gemara, now you're going to ask the question. The original question that we asked at the beginning of today's daf. If you're going to tell me it's 100% like earthenware, so it shouldn't become tameh on the outside. It should only become tameh on the inside, just like earthenware. That was the original question. And then we answered, no, it's also like metal. No. Pause. It's not like metal. It's only like earthenware. So if it's only like earthenware, why do we say that it should become tameh, right, on the outside? So the when you asked yourself, right, that it shouldn't become tameh on the outside, just like a earthenware utensil, says the Gemara, says no. at the end of the day, by glass, since glass is see-through, the inside and outside is the same. Meaning it does not have an outside. The outside, it's see-through. Okay, this is plastic, but pretend this is glass. It's see-through. The fact that it's see-through, I'm looking like this and it's see-through, there's no outside and inside. The entire thing is on the inside. So therefore, since it's on the inside, that's why it's going to be mekabel tuma on the outside. Because the outside is not really outside, it's also like the inside. Because it's see-through, it's transparent. That's what the Gemara answers according to Rav Ashi. According to this, it's also beautiful. Why? Because you don't have to come down to all the metals. Right? Because we just asked right after that, if you're going to compare it to metal, that it's going to be bitameh on the outside. So what about when you're going to come and you're going to have, whether it's, we asked the question of the pshuteh, right, which is the flat ones, and also we asked the other question also as well, that we compared it together about tuma yeshana, about old tuma. So now it's nothing to do with utensils. So you knock down those two answers in 1 second. Those two questions, sorry, in 2 seconds. One more time. We wanted to compare it to metal. By comparing it to metal, by saying that it's going to be mitameh on the outside, just like on the inside. So then the Gemara asks, if you're comparing it to metal, what about tuma yishana? Tuma yishana means that if it breaks and then you put it back together, it goes back to the original status quo of tuma. By glass, we don't say that. A second question, what about pshuteh zechuchi? Pshuteh zechuchi means flat glass. Flat glass should be mekabel tuma, just like flat pieces of metal. So the Gemara answered one answer. He says, no, it was the Rabbanan. We wanted to make a recognition. We wanted to make a thing, so you're not going to burn tuma. That's one answer. Now the Gemara is going to answer another beautiful question. Answer, nothing to do with metal. Glass was never like metal. So for what is glass? Glass is like earthenware. Why is it going to be mitameh from the outside? Very simple, because outside and inside is the exact same thing. There's no such thing as outside. It's see-through. It's transparent, and therefore it's all the same halachot. Okay, next. Shimon ben Shatach tiken ketubah laisha v'gazar tum'ah al kle matechot. So it says here, Shimon ben Shatach, he was the one that instituted the ketubah to a woman, and he made a gzar, and he also decreed tum'ah on metal utensils. So says the Gemara, kle matechot, right? Doraita dinu. What does it mean that he was gazar tum'ah al kli matechot? Kli matechot is already written in the Torah. When we're talking about the Kle Midian, if you remember, when they went and they conquered Midian, so there it's written to do with the Tum'ah of Matachot. What does it have to do now with this? Shimon and Shatach is coming making different decrees. It was from the Torah, right? Why? It says over there, this is in, again, Milchemet Midian Bamidbar, chapter 31, Pasuk 22, 23. So therefore these utensils, which are made out of any type of metal, right, you have to do tevilah in order to purify them from tumah. So it comes out that since the tumah is mina Torah, so therefore why is now Shimon ben Shatach coming and making any decrees? It's coming from the Torah. So answers the Gemara, lo nitzicha, no, the Gizerah of Shimon ben Shatach was not the concept of tumah. Tumah is from the Torah. The concept of Shimon ben Shatach was tumah yishana. Tumah yishana means that he made a special decree that when a utensil is going to break, right, it loses the status quo of tumah. But when you bring it back together of a metal utensil, it goes back to the original status quo of tum'ah. The Amr of Yudam Rav says of Yudam Rav, Masechet Shabbat Daf, there was a story of Sion Amalka. She was the sister of Shimon ben Shatach. This is the Gemara of Berachot, Masechet Amud Aleph. Right? It says over here, she was the wife of Yanai Melech, right? That was from the house of the Chashmonaim, right? And she was 10 years, right? She was still the queen after the death of the husband. And even though the husband died, she still stayed queen for another 10 years. That's what's written here. If you remember, we're doing Chazrav, Daf Yomi Berachot. This was a case where Yanai Melech, he didn't know how to say the Zimun. He didn't know how to say the Birkat Hamazon. So he went and he said, what are we going to do? We don't have something to say the Birkat Hamazon. So she went and she said, if I'm going to bring you somebody, you promise me, you swear to me that you won't touch him? So he said, yes. So then she went and she brought her brother, Shimon ben Shatach. You remember? So she brought him, and then he went and he said, he sat him in between them. So when he sat him in between them, right, he went and he said, you saw how much kavod I'm giving you? So Shimon ben Shatach says, you're not the one that's giving me the kavod, it's the Torah that's giving me the kavod. Right? And then he brought a pasuk, whatever. So then Yanai Melech went and told his wife, you see, these people, these rabbis, you know why I killed them all? I killed them because they never accept upon themselves authority. Look what he's saying. I'm trying to give him kavod, and look what he's saying. Right? It's not me, it's somebody, it's like Hashem, you understand? So again, that was the story over there. So again, one more time. So there was a story with Sion, or Shom Sion, whatever her name was, Amalka. She was the sister of Shimon ben Shatach. שעשתה משתה לבנה, she made a party for her son, נטמעו כל כליה, and all the utensils became tamemet. Now she had to wait 7 days, just like Tumah met. Now she needed them the exact same day. So now how's she going to do it? Shavratan, she broke all the utensils. Muntanatan tzoref, and she gave it to a person to Khan, and he put them all together. Okay, and then she made new utensils. So you saw the trick, what she did. She had, imagine right now, you have all these utensils, they're all tameh. I have to wait 7 days. I don't have 7 days to wait. I have to do it right now. What am I going to do? So what did she do? She broke all of them, gave them to the potters and all these things. They come, they put them all together, and they made new utensils. Amru chachamim, say chachamim, it should go back to the original status quo of Tumah, and therefore it doesn't help what she did right now. My tama, what's the reasoning? Mishum geder mechatat naguba. Says the Gemara, in order that we shouldn't forget the concept of Torah Tahara, Tumat Met, Umechatat. Remember the waters of the Chatat, right? This is the waters of the Paraduma, which are mixed with waters. They used to sprinkle it on the 3rd day and the 7th day in order to purify utensils or purify human body, right? So therefore, since you could have come and you could have purified this kli, right? So he says, right, people would have done that all the time in order not to wait the 7 days, and then we would forget about the tahara of the mechatat, which means we have the special chatat waters. This special waters of the paraduma comes, you sprinkle it on the 3rd day, and then this we just read in Parashat Para. You remember, we just had it 2 weeks ago, not this past Shabbat, the Shabbat before, Parashat Para. So we're talking about mei chatat. Mei chatat are the waters of the chatat, which is basically waters of the paraduma mixed with water, right? And therefore what happens is that when you have these paraduma waters mixed with the water, you're supposed to sprinkle it on the utensil on the 3rd day and the 7th day, and you're going to purify it. So what the Gemara says is like this. If right now, right, we have this special halakha, the special halakha is that if a utensil becomes tameh, you're going to sprinkle on it on the 3rd day and the 7th day, and then it's going to become pure, right? So therefore, if I'm just going to make a heter that any single Joe Schmo could come, break the utensil, form it up new, and then that's it, so you're going to forget about this, the laws of paraduma, right? Just throw it out the window. Why do you need it? Just break the utensil and that's it. So because of that, they made a concept called gizera. They made a gizera. What was the gizera? Tumah yeshana. Tumah yeshana was done by Shimon ben Shatach to basically say that any type of the old tumah falls up on it again. So therefore, even though it was tameh, it breaks. It becomes tahor. It becomes pure again. When I form the utensil again it becomes tameh. Right? It goes back to the tumah yeshana, to the original status quo of the original tumah. Okay? So says the Gemara, Hani chalaman damar, this is good according to the mandamar, lo lechola tumot umru, ela letumat bilvad amru shapi, which means that there was the concept of tumah yeshana was only in kelim that became tumah met by tameh met, and not by other tumot. So then it makes sense. Why? But the gzera was because of tumat met that you needed the 7 days of the paraduma. But according to the mandamar lechola tumot amru, the concept of tumah yeshana was by any type of a tumah. It wasn't only tumat met, any type of tumah that touched the utensil, and now the utensil broke, it becomes pure. When you put it back together, it becomes tumah yeshana. Michael, what are you going to say then? Because again, if you're telling me that it's only tumat met, then it makes sense. Why? Because it made sense. Tumat met, you have to wait 7 days. I don't want to wait the 7 days. What am I going to do? Break it, put it back together. That's it. I'm done. I bypassed the 7 days. So says the Gemara, they made a special decree in order not to bypass it, because if not, you're going to forget about paraduma. So that makes sense. But if you're going to tell me now that by any single type of tum'ah, that you're going to come and you're going to say that there's a decree of tum'ah yeshana, that again, if you put back together utensil, it goes back to the original status quo of becoming tameh, what's the comparison then? Why? Why are you going to say that it's tum'ah yeshana? You can't compare it to the tum'ah tameh, whether you need 7 days. Please, if anybody has a question, please speak up. I feel like I'm speaking to myself sometimes. Amar Abaya comes and he says, yeah, Gizera Shema lo yikovenu b'chdei tarato. He says, no, it's a different decree. You know what the decree is? He says the decree is it says over here, the decree is maybe what's going to happen is that somebody's going to make a hole in the utensil, right? But the hole wasn't big enough in order to consider it broken. And therefore, you cannot make it pure by coming and just having this hole and fixing it, because then it's going to become a problem, right? Which means like this. If you remember, we also learned this in Berachot when we spoke about the rimon, You remember we were speaking about the 7 different species of Eretz Yisrael, and then we said, what was the reason why we had the 7 different species? So one of the reasons why we had the 7 different species was each one was a different measurement. You had the seorah, the barley, was of a bone. And that's why you remember we said about the bone of the Yochanan, that he was carrying the bone of his 10th child that passed away. It had to be smaller than a barley kernel, because if not, it's going to become tameh. We had kezait was for foods, and we had revi'it was for blood. We had many different measures. So therefore, it says over here, there's a special measure for a utensil to be considered broken, that it's not going to be considered tameh anymore. What is that exactly? So it says over here, right, as follows. It says, you have it over here. You have it in the footnote. Okay? So it says over here in the footnotes, it's like a pomegranate. Okay? So which means like this. He says what the gezerah was, is that I'm going to make a gezerah. What's going to happen over here? I have a utensil. The second the utensil has a hole, so now what happens? We say it's going to become pure. Okay? He says, what's the problem? The problem is if you're going to make it pure, what happens? Everyone's going to make a hole in their utensil. But the hole, sometimes it's going to be smaller than what it really should be. And then you're going to come, you're going to say, it's pure. And it's a big problem because it's not pure. So because of that, we made a special decree. That's what it says over here. We made a special decree. He says it was going to make a special decree that when you fix it, it goes back to Tumah Yeshana. It goes back to the original Tumah. Why? Just in case you didn't actually break it properly, which means you didn't make a big enough hole in order to make it okay. So that was the reason why we made this special decree that it goes back to Tumah Yeshana by any type of a metal utensil. Doesn't matter which type of Tumah it was, whether it's Tumat Met or not Tumat Met, because according to the first reason, if it was Tumat Met, then it makes sense. Why? We don't want to forget the Paraduma. So okay, but any other type of Tumah, it doesn't make sense. So answer no. The reason why it doesn't make sense by every other type of Tumah also in addition is because at the end of the day, maybe you didn't make a big enough hole. And if you didn't make a big enough hole, so it was always Tameh from the beginning. So therefore they made a special decree. When you put it back together, it's Tameh, Tumah Yeshana. Go back to the original status quo of Tumah. That's the answer of Abai. Rava comes, and now Rava is going to come and answer in a different way. And Rava's answer is, Gizra Shem Yomru Tebila Bat Yuma Olala. It's another type of a decree. You know what the decree is? Maybe people are going to say that when you have a utensil, which is going to be done Tevila in the same day, right, without waiting until head of Shemesh. Remember, we already learned this also at the beginning of Berachot. Remember, the Gemara many times will repeat itself from many different places. So here, if you remember, we said when you have a Tvul Yom, or anything that you have to do Tevila, even though you went to the mikveh, it's still not going to be pure until Vad of Shemesh. Head of Shemesh means until the sun sets and it's nightfall. So therefore, says the Gemara, I would have thought to say that maybe a utensil which you just purified by putting in the mikveh, you didn't have to wait for Tzeta Kochavim. Because if you come and you see this utensil, that they're going to use it in the same day, you don't know that they broke it and they fixed it again. You thought that you put it in the mikveh and then you used it immediately. You don't know that, but it's not true because the Tful Yom is going to be Posel Truma. So it's going to bring a big downfall, or it's going to bring a big mistake. So because of that, they say they made a decree of Tumah Yeshana. So one more time, what is the reason why they went and they said Tumah Yeshana? Very, very simple. The reason why they said Tumah Yeshana was, if you're going to come and you're going to break the utensil and put it back together, and now you're going to say you're allowed to use it, somebody comes, they see you had a utensil that was tameh. All of a sudden, 3-4 hours later, they come, you see people bringing it back, and now you're allowed to use it. They're going to say, these guys went, they put it in the mikveh, and they came back. You're allowed to use it during the day. And it's not true. Chas v'shalom. What happened was they went, they broke it, and then they fixed it. So because of that, they made the decree, in order not to make any mistakes, Tumah Yeshana. So my benayu, what's the practical nafkamina between the Shita of Abaye, the reasoning of Abaye because of the decree, or the reasoning of Rava because of the decree? So says the Gemara, Ika benayu, the difference between the two different ones is that finhu mirtzach, which means you broke the kelim completely. You completely broke it, and then you made a new utensil. According to Rava, en ligzor beofen zeh, why? Because maybe they're going to say Tevilah bat Yoma Olela, because you could tell, right, that it was completely broken, and it wasn't through Tevilah, because you could see it's a completely new utensil. So he says, so they're not going to have Tumah Yeshana. But according to Abaye, that the Gezerah is maybe they're not going to make a big enough hole. They made it, doesn't matter what type of breaking, doesn't matter what it is. According to Abaye, you're always going to make it Tameh, and therefore you're going to have Tumah Yeshana. So that's going to be the practical difference between Rava and Abaye, where you completely 100% break it. According to Rava, there's no Tumah Yeshana. According to Abaye, there is going to be Tumah Yeshana. The Yidach Mahi. So he said, okay, fine. What other Gezerot were of the 18 things that we mentioned? Because remember, we already mentioned there's going to be 18 things. What other types of Givezorot were they? So it says in the Gemara, Ditra, because the other two were actually correct. Shimon and Shatach, I don't know why they didn't explain the concept of the Ketubah for the woman, but we only went on the Kli Matachot, right? So then we went Kli Matachot, they were gozer on Kli Matachot Tuma Yeshana, which is the old Tuma, not on the regular Kli Matachot, because the regular Kli Matachot is from the Torah, meaning metal utensils came from the Torah. Okay? So it says, Ditra, we learned in the Mishnah, is the Mishnah Mikvaot, Perek Daled, right? Mishnah Aleph. Okay, it says, Hameniach Kelim Tachat Atzinor. If you're going to put a utensil underneath a tzinor, okay, it says here, we're talking about a tzinor, which is like a pipe, right? That it's not considered like a kli like shulvim. So, for example, it doesn't have bet kibul, but rather it's open on both sides. Or it does have a bet kibul, but the bet kibul was made after it was already attached to the ground. So therefore, he says it's not considered a utensil. So for the waters inside of it are not considered shulvim. Remember, mine shulvim is going to be posel a mikveh. Okay, mine which is shulvim. So if this tzinor, this pipe, if you want to call, the gutters that we have, if that was actually made a utensil, right? If that's a utensil, that's it. The water inside of it is 100% impure. So right, it's mine shulvim. So therefore, it's considered drawn water. That means even though it was rainwater, but once it comes into that utensil, it becomes drawn water. So here it says what you had to have talking about is that this tzinor is not considered a utensil, either because it's open on both sides, or he says it does have a receptacle to receive the water, but it was only made the receptacle after it was attached to the ground. And once it's attached to the ground, so therefore it doesn't become a utensil. Okay, so what happens? So one more time. Let me just also check here just very quickly. Okay, so you have here, here it is. I don't know if everyone could see it. You see the picture? Okay, so it says over here, the tzinor is he's making the tzinor out. You see, basically he's got over here.
Closer. Closer. Yeah, okay, thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Okay, so look at the picture first, and then I'll explain the picture. Everyone seeing the picture? Okay, so now let me explain the picture. So it says over here, this is the tzinor. So you could see that he's actually breaking out this pipe or this gutter. Okay, now the water is coming down, right? So tzinor shnikru v'sof hakaku, or according to Rashi, right? Shelo tachat tzinor. Okay, so basically it's coming in and then it's going into the pool. Okay, so it says over here like this. Okay, tzinor ameniach kelim tachat tzinor. If you're going to put a utensil underneath the tzinor, in order to receive this water, okay? The water of the rainwater. Doesn't matter whether we're talking about big ones or small ones, small utensils or big utensils. Even if we're talking about, right, where they're talking about utensils out of stone, adama, earth, or gelalim. Gelalim is usually excrement. Let me just check here. Some people say, galebakar, excrement of the animals, but other people explain something else. Okay, fine, shaish or marble. Okay, fine, that's what usually it is. So it says all of these things are not considered a kelim for kabbalat tuma. Okay, now it says, however, though they are considered kelim for sheiva mayim, for drawing the water. So it says postin mikveh. This is considered mayim shuvim, which means again 3 lugim of mayim shuvim is posting into mikveh. So this was yesterday's daf. If you remember, we didn't paskin, not like Hillel and not like Shammai, but rather we paskin that shalosh lugim, right, is going to be posel et mikveh, which shalosh lugim I think was 1 liter, if I remember correctly. Okay, because every single log was 344 milliliters. So 344 times 3 was around 1 point something, like very little, 1 liter. Okay, so when you have this, it's going to be shlosha mayim shuvim, right? Shlosha lugim mayim shuvim is going to be posel mikveh. Echad hameniach, doesn't matter whether you put the utensils underneath the tzinor bechavana, right, purposely there, ve'echad hashocheach, or you just forgot it there, right? It's going to be posel the mikveh. These are the words of Bet Shammai. Bet Hillel, they argue, if you forgot your utensils there, they said it's going to be tahor. Why? You didn't have kavanah for it to be mayim shuvim, and therefore it's going to be kosher. Okay, so which means like this, right? Look what's happening. You have again the tzinor, the water right? The water is going down into a utensil. From the utensil, it's going down into the mikveh. Okay, so this is a machloket between, again, who's this? This is Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, not Shammai and Hillel, Bet Shammai, Bet Hillel. So again, according to Bet Shammai, they said whether you put it purposely there or you forgot the utensils there, it becomes Mayim Shuvim, waters which were drawn, and therefore it's going to become Pasul. However, though, according to Bet Hillel, they said if you forgot the utensils there, since you didn't have kavanah for it there, it's not considered Mayim Shuvim, it's not considered drawn waters, okay, and therefore it's not going to be mitameh, it's not going to make it the mikveh, right, tameh. Amar Rabbi Meir, says Rabbi Meir, Nimnu v'rabu Bet Shammai Bet Hillel. The rabbis from Bet Shammai, they became more than the rabbis on Bet Hillel. Okay, so it says over here, right? Right, it says over here that they started. It says here, Nimnu v'rabu Bet Shammai Bet Hillel, right, which means that there were more people from Bet Shammai than Bet Hillel to start the halachot, right? And which means is that that's what happened. That basically they paskin like Bet Shammai, which means the Nimnu v'rabu means all of a sudden you have the majority of Bet Shammai. So once you have the majority of Bet Shammai, they paskin like Bet Shammai. So then it says umodim Bet Shammai. However, though, and that's why they made the decree. So this was also one of the decrees that they made that day. However, though, Bet Shammai come and they agree that if you're going to come and you're going to forget a utensil in the chatzer, into the courtyard, not underneath the tzinor, and all of a sudden that means basically again, this case again is that the tzinor, which is the gutter, went straight into the utensil. Now we're not talking about that. Now we're talking about that you forgot it there, but not underneath it. Meaning you just stopped and you forgot, right? You forgot a utensil in the field, in the middle of the courtyard. And all of a sudden, started raining. Now you forgot it there. You had no intention. You didn't put it underneath the gutter or anything. It was just stuck in the field. And all of a sudden, it gets full of water. And then it falls into the mikveh. So modim bet shammai b'shocheach b'chatzer shehu tahor, that it's going to become tahor. Right? Why? Because you had no intention whatsoever over there, and therefore it's going to be okay. So Amar Rabbi Yosef, says Rabbi Yosef, right? Adayin machloket b'mkoma omedet. He says, no, I'm sorry, right? This was not one of the gezerot of the 18 things. Why? Because Bet Hillel never retracted, which means the previous opinion just said was that this is Rabbi Meir. According to Rabbi Meir, Bet Shammai overpowered Bet Hillel because there were more of Bet Shammai, and therefore this was one of the 18 decrees that they made on that day. According to Rabbi Yosef, there was no such thing. I'm sorry, we never paskin la Bet Shammai. We never made such a decree because the halacha the machlok was still between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. Okay, next, Rav Mesharshia says Rav Mesharshia, Tever Rav Amre, in the academy of Rav, in the Bet Midrash of Rav, they said Hakol Modim, whether Bet Shammai or Bet Hillel, they both agree. Kishinicham, if you put it underneath the tzinor, if you put it underneath this gutter, the Shat Kishuravim, and when it was going to start raining, meaning that you could see that the clouds are coming together, okay? That means you thought that it was going to rain, Tamein. So according to everybody, it's going to be Tameh. Why? Because that means that for sure that was your kavanah. And therefore, right, it's not going to, that means even though you forgot it there, doesn't matter. Your kavanah was that it should accept the rain, okay? B'shat Pizuravim, but if you're putting it over there when the clouds are scattering around, meaning that they're separating and it doesn't look like it's going to rain, Tivra Kol Teorim. So then it looks, according to everybody, it's going to be tahor because that wasn't your kavanah. So according to everybody, so basically again, we're now broadening the machloke between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. According to everybody, even Bet Hillel agrees that if you came and you put this utensil underneath it and it looks like it's going to rain, even though you forgot it, for sure it's going to be disqualified in mikveh. Why? That was your original kavanah. You forgot it there afterwards. Doesn't matter. Your original kavanah. Why did you put it there when you saw it was going to rain? So that was your kavanah. That's it. The other way, if right now, right, you're going to put it there when the clouds are going away. So now that's not your purpose anymore. So therefore, even Bet Shammai are going to agree to Bet Hillel, and it's not going to be disqualified in the mikveh. So when is the machloket? Lo nechleku elay nicham b'shat kishuravim v'nitpazru v'chazru nitkashru. So it says the machloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel is that if you put it underneath the gutter when the clouds were together, then it separated and then it came back together, right? And again, and then it started raining. So it says here, and the reason why the machloket was more savar, according to Bet Hillel, they hold batla machshavto. The fact that the clouds separated, it was annulled your already intention. So therefore, even though when you put it there, it was going to start raining, we don't say that. However, though, Mor Savar Bet Shammai hold, lo batel machshavto. There was no batel your machshava, and therefore it's still going to be impure from the beginning, right? Which means, according to Bet Shammai, it's going to disqualify the mikveh, just like what we mentioned before. Okay? Until here, we're still clear. I'll repeat the last part. Yeah, let me repeat the last part one more time. Okay, the Academy of Rav came and they said, Hakol Modim, whether Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel, they both agree that if you put these utensils underneath the gutter, when it's going to start raining, everybody agrees that it's going to disqualify the mikveh. Why? Because Chacham Manana, you know exactly that it's going to rain, it's going to fall inside the utensil, and it's going to go into the mikveh. So therefore, for sure it's going to disqualify, even according to Bet Hillel. And everybody agrees also, when the clouds are scattering from one place to another, which means that it's not going to rain anymore, right? So everyone agrees, and now you come and you put it there. So obviously, you didn't want to catch the rain, because it's not going to rain anymore. The clouds scattered from one place to another, it's there's no clouds anymore. So therefore, if you now put a utensil there, according to everybody, you weren't going to have it there for the rain, and therefore it's not going to impurify whatsoever. It's not going to disqualify the mikveh. So when is the machloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel? The machloket is that right now what happened is that it was going to start raining, right? So you see all the clouds coming, you put the utensil. Then all of a sudden, it scattered the clouds. And then all of a sudden, came back the clouds, and then it rained. So therefore, what happens is the machloket between Bet Shammai and Bet Hillel. According to Bet Hillel, the fact that the clouds separated, it annulled my original intention. That means even though I put this utensil here when it was going to rain, the fact that the clouds separated, that's not my original intention anymore. It destroyed my original intention, and now when it comes and it rains again, I forgot it there. I didn't have I annulled my original intention. It's not going to disqualify the mikveh. According to Bet Shammai, I don't say that. I don't say that the original intention was disqualified, was like thrown out the window, and therefore I go back on the original purpose. Why did I put the utensil there? It was going to rain. So then that's it. The clouds scattered, doesn't matter. I make the decree that it was going to be a surah, therefore it's going to disqualify the mikveh. So as the Gemara, one second. According, remember, this is a machloket between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yosef, right? This is one of the 18 decrees that they decreed on that day in the attic of Hananiah, right? So he says over here, one second. If you're going to tell me now that this is not a machloket, that means that this is still a machloket, which means that Bet Hillel did not agree to Bet Shammai, and therefore until today it's still a machloket, and they didn't make any decree. So you're missing one of the number. You needed 18. According to this, it's not 18. According to Rabbi Meir, this is one of the 18. But according to this, it's not 18. So what's going to happen? So says the Gemara, he comes and he says, Batzilhu, you don't have 18. Amrav Nachman bar Yitzchak says, Nachman bar Yitzchak, Benot Kutim, Nidom Elisitam Bo Bayom Gazru. He says, no, Benot Kutim was Nida. What does that mean? Right? It says over here like this. It says, right, it's Benot Kutim, Nidom Elisitam, which means that the deen is that the daughters of the Kutim, remember, Kutim were converts, but there was a question about the validity of their conversions or not. So he said in such a case that there was a question, they become Nida from when they were even babies in their cribs. So they also made that type of a decree. Again, we learned this in Masechet Nida as well. Okay? Next. What other gezerot did we make on that day? The Tzram, as we learned in the Mishnah, Kol metaltalim mevin et hatuma. Right? What does that mean? Any type of metaltalim, which is basically that any type of movable objects that was made into an ohel alamet, mevin et hatuma. They're also going to bring tuma, which means again, you have a movable object in a tent, and there's a dead person, a deceased person in the tent. Anything which is in the tent is going to become tameh. The ovi amardea. So it says over here like this. It's going to cause the tum'ah to go with the shi'ur of the thickness of a mardea, which means if it has the thickness of the metaltalim, this movable object has the thickness of a melamed bakar. Melamed bakar is something which is used, which is like a shlish tefach, a third of a tefach. So here it says over here, that's what we're going to explain later on in Yud Amud Aleph. Shlish of a tefach, a third of a tefach. So remember, if 8 centimeters is a tefach, so a third of 8 centimeters. So we're talking about, let's say, just under 3 centimeters. So that thickness, right, but that's the thickness of what you use in order to teach is the mardea. This is a mardea. This is what, like, it was like a rope, or I don't know what you want to call it, like a stick that they used to come and show the bakar. They used to use it to show the bakar where to go. They used to show the cattle, where do you go? So you used to like guide them. So it says over here like this. So it says, okay?
Rabbi,
Yes.
what page is that picture on coming from in that book? Can you give me the page number?
41.
Okay, I couldn't find it. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. No problem. By the way, Richard, you should know on the top of the book, it says over there, Pirush Chai Shabbat Daf Tet Zayin Amud Bet. So that's where it tells you which daf you're on. So I started today, although you should know a lot of the other pictures is from Rashi and Tosafot. That's why I didn't go through all the pictures, right? But there were other pictures. For example, when we're talking about that it's going to be mitameh on the outside, right? So this was the picture on the outside, mitamim on the outside, the inside, the outside. So there are different pictures. I didn't feel that every single one you did need to, to see it, but it is, I think, important. But I did show you the picture of the tzinor, right? And then this is the picture of the mardea as well, which is again this stick that they used to use in order to show the cattle where to go. So that any type of movable object which has that size, which is a third of a tefach, which is just under 3 centimeters. So therefore, even though mina Torah and tumatmet goes into an oil, unless something has the thickness of a tefach or more, they made a special decree that even if it has a third of a tefach, okay, that it's already going to be considered tameh as well, which means that the rabbi added on to that which the Torah said. The Torah said it was a tefach. They said even a third of a tefach is going to be enough in order to transport tumah, okay? And then just the last word of the line, Amar Bitafon says Bitafon, Akapachit Banai, which means he's going to cut his children, which means he's going to bury them, Chas v'shalom, because this is halacha, which is also like broken. Sheshama Shomea B'tab is the person that was listening, heard it, but he made a mistake, and then he continued going. So that Bezrat Hashem will do tomorrow morning. Okay, so keep in tune, Bezrat Hashem, keep in touch, and Bezrat Hashem tomorrow morning we'll continue with the Daf Yomi. Again, we're also going to continue with the Shachrit also as well. Today we started Hudu at around 7 o'clock. We'll be around the same time, maybe 1 minute earlier tomorrow morning because of the nets. And we're doing the Daf Yomi and we're doing everything on Zoom. Okay, have a wonderful day. Shavuot Tov. Enjoy.